Yeah, I mean, look, interestingly, Gareth Southgate in the post-match interview said, I talked to the players about what they would do if Germany scored. What they seemed to do was go and let them score again. But the point is that they came back, and I thought they played well in the bulk of the game. I thought that Maguire at times was good. The focus was on the mistakes that he's made, but he's rusty. He's not playing games, and this is the $64 million question. Do you play a centre-half in a key position when he's not match fit? But I also thought there were times when he stepped in, his distribution was good. I thought that time England moved the ball well. Yeah. I thought we looked a balanced side, and I thought the goalkeeper didn't do himself any favours. He didn't do himself any favours from the start of the game all the way to the end of it. But I thought England, on the whole, were okay.
Oh, that's good to hear, because you haven't won now in 6.
I know, and you can take that into the World Cup with the bonus of saying that maybe it will suppress the appetite for the media to turn around and build up people's expectations. So maybe there is a benefit to that. No, I mean, Graham was talking yesterday, and he made a lot of points about this is incidental. These games are incidental. They're friendlies. They're jumped up friendlies. Nobody really cares. Yeah. Look at the other sides that are going into this tournament. They're not having a particularly effervescent time. But we're playing in a World Cup, Graham. We're not playing in the European Championship.
What's an effervescent time?
Well, on top of their game, buzzing, sparkling.
Plenty of fizz.
Plenty of fizz.
Ah, right.
Not sizzle, but fizz.
Oh,
but it's a World Cup. So this argument that maybe the Germans and whoever else aren't doing that in Europe doesn't help us when we play the Argentinians or the Brazilians, who are in good nick.
I see.
So I think there was some silliness about the fact that they shouldn't be playing these games and we shouldn't be taking anything from it. Yeah. In terms of the fact we haven't played. But the last time we had a run of poor form was in terms of leading up to a tournament was in 1966, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So it's written in the stars, is it?
On your 30th birthday.
You haven't won for 6 games. So, apart from that, Scotland flying tonight, and of course, they go in against Ukraine. But we'll talk about that later in the morning. I'm delighted you're getting on so well with Graham.
Where are they flying to?
As soon as your new best pal, incidentally. So, even after that last night, when it looked like England were going to win and they had to end up settling for a draw, Southgate still put a positive spin in it post-match.
I've got to say the players have been fantastic the last few days. They've taken some individual responsibility. They've collectively talked as a group on their own with us, and the whole experience has been one we needed, I think, to grow the next part as a team, because you're going to have pressure in a World Cup, and you can try and avoid pressure, but it's coming. Maybe it's the third group game, maybe it's a quarter-final, whatever it might be, it's coming. So better that we feel it and we learn how to deal with it.
Okay. So they've learned something last night about pressure and how to deal with the pressure. Simon, this is a serious one. You and I will be there. 54 days from Qatar. Yeah. I can't believe that, but that's the case. How honestly do you rate England's final report card going into this? And I do stress, and I'm not being Scottish and facetious with this, they haven't won in 6. Now, as you say, that could be used as a positive. Well, when it really matters, go in there and win. And you'll beat Iran. You'll probably beat the USA. Yeah. And you'll probably beat Wales. Sorry, Wales, but you'll probably beat them.
And that's not always the case in these tournaments, because when we played Wales in tournaments, it's been a very difficult game. So with that in mind, I think we'll gain our momentum. Momentum is the key component of football teams. Graham, again, Souness was arguing yesterday about the incidentality of the last 6 games, because the European nations make it up, look it up, and just make sure that's a word.
Yeah.
But
how many points did you get for that
word?
He
felt it was irrelevant that these games, that they were glorified friendlies, and I don't agree with that, because I think football teams are built upon confidence. But I also think that England were better yesterday. The players were more at it. The coherency of the team was much more better. They were more cohesive. Yeah. So I think all of that builds some sort of momentum, and I think that they'll beat the Iranians and they'll beat the US. They won't be easy games, but they'll beat them, and they'll gain their confidence from that. There are players in that side that we can take positives from. I think Jude Bellingham is a very decent player. I don't want him built up into a superstar world beater, because he's not at that stage yet, but he's a good player. I think Mason Mount coming back into the side and getting a goal was a positive, because he's been a little bit out of sorts. I thought Sterling looked good last night. I thought that one of the particular moves that we made that created the chance for Sterling was outstanding football from our side. Foden looks great. There's lots of positives. There are lots of positives.
Foden looks great. Not last night, from what I heard.
Well, I thought he looked great may not have, his distribution may not have been, all that it could have been, but I think his energy and his enthusiasm and his aptitude and his application were as good as you'd want to be from a group of players that apparently don't think these games are particularly important.
All right, well, the build-up's over because it's a real thing now, and we're now 54 days from Qatar. How would you out there rate England's final report card? In other words, where are you going into this World Cup in Qatar in November? 03717 223344 810 89.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.